welcome to the Women on Fire 15-minute masterclass. It is phenomenal to have someone of your experience and talent to share your information with us. So welcome.
Thank you very much, Petra, and it's great to be here. So I appreciate you asking me.
Yeah, awesome. Well, let's get started. I'm always so excited to interview people, and today we are going to be talking about authenticity in relation to success. And I know that you are a phenomenal woman. You have been in business for 25 years, and you were one of the first women in your family to actually work. And I find that phenomenal. So tell me a little bit first about that decision that you, what drove that decision for you to go along and go and work?
Well, actually, I started working 50 years ago. It's a bit of a worry. Yes, 50 years ago, and I worked, and I was one of the first women in my family, well, the first woman in my family to work after I got married, because women didn't do that from where I came from. So yes, it was, women didn't work in those days. Once you got married, you didn't go back to work, but I wanted to work, and it wasn't because financially I needed to, but I needed more for me. And I was living in Western Queensland at that time when I first got married. So for me, my husband was away traveling, and I needed something to fill my hours rather than a house. I'm not one of these homebodies, as you probably know. Being at home for me is not what turns me on. So I suppose I started working, and I started teaching in those days. I was working in a convent, teaching in a convent. So yes, I started then, and then of course I had my children, but I went back to work when I was only off work maybe, what, 4 years, 5 years and 4 years. When my daughter went to kindergarten, I decided I needed to do a bit of work. I was involved in a lot of things, and in those days I was doing a lot of community work, and I ran 3 playgroups, and that was when playgroups started, and I went back to studying at that time as well, early childhood development. So yes, I just always worked, and then we moved to Queensland, and we had a business here, and that was 36 years ago, and we had a business up here. And after 3 years in the family business, I decided I didn't like it anymore, so I went out and got a job. And it just sort of, life has just gone on like that.
The internet has certainly opened the world for us. And so that brings me to the next point about authenticity, because I know that's something you specialize in. So with the internet, of course, there are no secrets. Can you share with us how authenticity is an essential ingredient to have in business?
Well, authenticity is, to me, all about being real, being honest, being who you are, having integrity. We live in a different world today where you can't have masks. You used to be able to be someone at work and someone at home, and you were different people in different circumstances. You can't do that now because of the internet. So we're now at a time when everything is out there for anybody to find out about you if they want to. And if you're not being the same person and you are pretending to be someone other than you are, you'll be found out fairly quickly.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's wonderful. So when you say being authentic is being true to yourself, which I find is very interesting. So I find that a lot of people don't actually know who they are. You know, they don't actually know who they are, so they struggle to be true to themselves because they don't know who they are. So I know you deal with this too. So how can you advise people to find out who they are?
Well, I think today, because everything is so very different today, that I believe gaining awareness and self-awareness are the most important things any individual can do. And we have to know who we are and what we are. From my perspective, I can only talk from where I come from. And we need to do some personal development and find out what makes us tick and why we do what we do and why we react the way we do and where our blockages are and what is stopping us from achieving being the best we can. And that is by going somewhere and learning. I teach that. I coach and mentor in that area, and there are a lot of other people that do also. So I say to people, find out who you are. Find out how you can be the best you can be. We have a life and we're given opportunities to become anyone we want to become. Go out and find out how you can do that.
How did you cope with the disappointments and the highs and the lows? And what did you do to help yourself keep growing and keep developing so you can become the success that you are today?
Well, for me, business is all about ups and downs, and you have to be aware you're going to have that. If you're in business, there's not necessarily an income at the end of the week as when you work for somebody. You're depending on what you do, your flow of money, your flow of energy, your flow of everything is going to be up and down, depending on what's happening. So if you understand that there are going to be good times and bad times, or times that aren't as good, you prepare for that. You have to be it from an energetic perspective or be it from a financial perspective. A lot of people in business who are relatively new in business don't prepare themselves for having Christmas holidays, for instance. They don't understand that December, January can be pretty quiet in business. So you have to be prepared for that time. So we have to look at it from another view. I'm a great believer in, having disability insurance and looking after yourself in business to make sure when the times are really bad and you get sick or something, there is something there that's going to keep you going. I've been down that road where I've had to use those facilities, and it makes life a lot easier if you've got that. So we have to learn to protect ourselves in a very, very different way, because there's no holiday pay, sick pay, all those extras that you get when you work for somebody else. So you have to have that built into your business so that you can have that. And then if you end up with an extended period of time off, if you're not prepared for that, life can get very tough.
Yeah, and that's great. And knowing that stuff is great. And yet what I find a lot of people are challenged with are their belief systems, to roll through that and to keep believing that what they're doing is what they want to do. And how did you deal with your belief systems? Because I'm sure there were times you were doubting yourself.
At times doubting myself, maybe, yes, probably. I think it's more, I have a purpose. I've always been on purpose, or as on purpose as I can be. Every day for me is being aware of what I'm doing here. Why am I on this earth plane? Why am I here? What am I meant to be accomplishing? So for me, it's a 24-hour thing that I'm very aware of. When I wake up in the morning, what is today going to bring? What do I expect of myself and the world around me? Because I know I create my own reality. And then when I go to bed at night, I go through the same process again. Have I achieved what I was meant to achieve in the day? It's something I am consciously doing all the time. And I've done that for many, many years. So for me, I'm very aware of my purpose. If somebody isn't aware of their purpose, which is a lot of people out there and probably a lot of visitors, listeners to this interview, find out what your purpose is. Why are you here? What are you meant to be doing? Once you know your why, and I always say that if your why makes you cry, you know you're where you're meant to be. It's all about fulfilling and being the best you can be with whatever you're meant to be. We're all different. We all have different roles. We all have different gifts. We all have different challenges. Whatever the challenges we get are the challenges we're meant to have so we can grow.
I love that. That's a great attitude to have, seeing the challenges as growing opportunities. That's absolutely phenomenal. And because, of course, time just goes when you're having fun. Tell us about your phenomenal book that you've just published, and tell us a little bit more about your motivation for that and the message that you want to share with that book.
Okay, Awesome Authenticity is a book that's just had end of last year, had its third edition. It's a book about relationship building, and it's all about for business people to relationship build by using word of mouth marketing, that's networking, and about understanding and using masterminding to grow themselves and their business. I found some years ago that networking, and I had been doing it for nearly 20 years and teaching it, that I found that people weren't getting what I believed they needed to go to a better, deeper depth. So as a result of that, I started teaching and started running mastermind groups. They are my form of mastermind groups that are on the Napoleon Hill, using his philosophy of Think and Grow Rich. And as a result of that, I bring groups of people together. And this is what the book is really about, is the advantages of masterminding. And that's what masterminding is all about, is having a small, confidential, independent board of directors, I call it, who will actually support you and counsel you in its own way to grow and become the best you can become. And
yeah, that's perfect. And as you say, networking and masterminding have been around for eons. They've just become very popular. And as you say, masterminding has such massive potential to help you grow, not only as a person in your business, because it's combining all those beautiful minds to help you succeed. So yeah, it's a great tool to have, and I think it's going to be a phenomenal book. So has it been released already? Is it already on?
Oh, yes, it's on. I've got a website, awesomeauthenticity.com.au. It's there. For me, it's all about supporting people to become the best they can become. And giving them some more tools and making them aware from a personal development perspective how they need to grow if they want to achieve.
That is our time up already, and it's phenomenal. It goes so quickly. So thank you so much, Jenny, for your wealth of knowledge. I just love interviewing women who have been around for a little while. We call them mature women, because they have just got the wealth of experience that they can just share with us and pass down to us. So thank you so much for your time today.
My pleasure. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you, Petra.